Let's make it count.
I must practice tolerance. Next, GSL Season 3. Reversal.
Welcome to GSL Code S Season 3. I can't believe that it's already here.
It's a brand new season, Artosis, or it's a brand new. It's reversal is the theme of today's season. I'm not sure exactly what we're reversing, but we'll figure it out eventually. And we're starting things off with Guri on stage and a little opening ceremony for you guys today. Wow, I'm not really starting off the season.
No,
my words
I wish we could do a reversal.
Yeah, my words are reversal today.
Yeah.
Well, here's a list of our broadcast dates. Unfortunately, not reversed.
Yeah. The one big thing is we are ripping through the Ro.32 here once again. In the course of 3 weeks, we will finish it all up. And on the 11th, that's next Thursday, so 8 days from today, we're starting an hour and a half later than we normally do on weeknights.
Just because, just for you. We saw one fan made a -1 upvoted comment on Reddit that said to make it at 8 o'clock, and we listened. So we put it at 8 o'clock on next Thursday.
It's
so
important to do.
It's on the 11th. Keep in mind, if you guys are coming down, don't show up early that day.
Yeah, or show up early that day and wait way longer than you normally do.
That's true. It's a perfect weather outside, too. So this is opening day, and so because of opening day, we have our Africa TV CEO, Kevin Saw, up on stage to give an opening announcement. So he says we're starting the opening season of this, of the last opening season of this year. He says, what do you think about the new uniform? That is the new GSL jacket. He says he's excited for this season. Season 2 had a lot of stories. And I'm expecting that a lot more stories will be happening this season as well. We have a lot of newcomers this season, so like Tasia, Bomber. Then we have 2 foreign players, SpeCial and Scarlet. And so lots of new players this season. He says, now it's finally time to start Season 3.
결승전 대결을 시작하겠습니다. 홍해우전 최초의 우승자가 나왔습니다. 그 이름은 다크 박영우. Please welcome three of the World Championship Series. Bomber, Liquid Tasia, champion. 2019 Mountain Dew GSL Season 3 Code S Reversal.
I tell you what, it is amazing to be back so quickly into yet another season of GSL Code S. But you know what's even more amazing?
That I'm here?
Being here with you.
Got it! Nailed it! All right, I'm 1 for 1 today. If things keep going that way,
I changed it to that because I didn't want to embarrass him.
I didn't hear what you said, Artosis, so I don't know.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay, good.
It's great to be here with you, Rapid, filling in. And I got to say, this group, very exciting stuff.
Lots of things going on in this group. Somehow, the Africa TV CEO, Kevin, divined there were going to be new storylines this year. So because we have a bunch of new players, we've got a lot of new storylines just overall, and I think we're going to take a look at the full groups for the round of 32, and there are a lot of things going on, not only in this group, but overall. We've got foreign players, we've got returning players. I thought it was kind of interesting that he mentions Tasia and Bomber coming back, because obviously those are very big names. But we also have Super and Dream who are coming back, and
that's a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think probably they had as large a fan base as guys like Tasia, who's like kind of the best player in the world at one point.
Well, Rapid, listen, okay, I didn't see your Team Liquid shirt on underneath there, but he was never the best player in the world. Too. Okay, he was a very good player, but let's not get crazy here.
But he won all those dream hacks, Artosis.
Yeah, he did do that.
All right, this is a look at our round of 24. 12 Terrans, 12 Protoss, and 8 poor, lonely Zergs down there who have only won all the championships,
all the
Artosis.
Yeah.
How do they do it? They're so downtrodden.
I know.
Where's my Zerg representation group?
Poor Zergs. Yeah, you know, looking at this season, I love. Well, first off, it's funny that we're calling them newcomers because all these guys have been in GSL before. It's just been a very long time. To have them back is amazing. Bomber and Tasia both were amongst the top players in the world. Dream was one of the most exciting up-and-comers for a while, and then disappeared off the face of the planet, and he's back. And then Super, he had his ups and downs. You know, he had some good times, he had some bad times. But, you know, cool to have older players returning there as well. We are missing out on a few players. Bunny didn't make it again. That was a real big shock for me.
Lost to Armani.
Yeah. And, you know, MC and DRG that we saw recently, they didn't get to make it, so that was too bad. But, you know, you can't have all your friends at your birthday party.
I never had that problem. Well, we do have a lot of friends in
neither friends nor birthday parties, but please go ahead.
Nice. We have these friends in our birthday parties. This is how the groups looked at. I don't know if there's a clear group of death. I would say that some groups are groups of death for specific players in those groups, but especially these last 4 groups, some absolute madness here, Artosis.
Yeah. All the groups are looking pretty scary. A lot of these groups, it doesn't feel like you can predict too well who's coming out, except for maybe Group F. All the others I look at, I'm like, you know what? There's at least 3 contenders, real contenders in a lot of these groups. I guess Group E and F kind of look one way, but
yeah, I think each group has a player who, if you were forced to choose, could probably have an underdog. You know, players like Armani, who's never made it past the round of 32, and a whole host of perennial kind of GSL Code A gatekeepers, right? So some of them make it in, some of them don't, and each season you're always very excited to find out, okay, well, who are the new faces we're going to see for a brief moment, but we don't want to see them too long because they rarely make it through. But I think if last season is any indicator, there's a chance for a lot of our newer players to really overperform, like guys like PartinG, who really had just an astonishing last season, and SpeCial, who's been, I think, overperforming even by his own standards internationally.
Well, I tell you, the finals of WCS is a big deal, and how well he played last season in GSL as well, a big deal. I think it's been a long time coming for him, so very excited to see that. You look at the rest of the group, and, you know, Alive, he hasn't had a strong showing in a couple years, it feels like now.
Right.
And Rogue is so all over the place. So I don't know what to make of this group, to be honest.
I don't either, but I do think that PartinG, at least if he performs like he did last season, has a great chance of advancing. He is now sponsored by My First Cell Phone and is here to prove that it's not just a fluke that he did so well last season, make it out of the round of 32.
Pixel 1?
Yeah.
Was he on Player 1 before?
He was on Player 1, and I believe that's now
name?
Pixel 1.
Okay.
Because there's actually another Player 1 esports organization out there. So
there's 2.
It turns out you can't have 2 Player 1s, just like me and my brother growing up found out.
Yeah, no, you definitely could not. Okay, well, interesting. From Ocean Gaming, we have SpeCial. You know, this guy, so strong, definitely one of the best Terrans in the world right now. One of the best foreigners in the world right now. Always spending his time in Korea and really started to deliver. I feel like last season was really his breakout performance. Like, he's been very good for a very long time, but he showed his own styles as well. He wasn't just a slightly worse TY last season, you know?
Well, yeah, it's weird how his destiny is often intertwined with TY. They were intertwined earlier today as TY was his taxi driver, taking him here to GSL, and I'm imagining a lot of their conversations centered around, what he is going to do today. I would say TVT, maybe something that SpeCial has a speciality for, but man, how do you prepare against PartinG? This guy can really do it all.
He is a good PBT player. Here we go into set number 1 on New Repugnancy.
Fight.
39-39.
There's some significance there. I'm sure that ties into my horoscope, Artosis. This is
Pixel 1. PartinG.
okay. I like it. It rolls off the tongue, you know? And this is
Ocean Gaming. SpeCial.
his team's a little sick because there's a lot of plastic in it right now, but he's a pretty sick player too. That's why they let him on.
Well, at least his team is getting bigger as the ice cap smells. So,
how good a player is PartinG? Is he a pro player? He's such a pro player, Artosis.
yeah,
He's so
he is.
good.
That is brutal. SpeCial just like looked sad.
Yeah, you
about
guys
what just
can't
occurred.
see it, but he actually is halfway walking through the crowd out of the studio right now. He's, obviously very upset about this. Now, if you're beyond, then you micro it and you just still build it anyway and you pretend like there's not a worker there, but that is heartbreaking.
That is so heartbreaking. The fact that he proxies this and it gets found instantaneously from PartinG. Obviously, you can scout for proxies. He is someone that proxies sometimes. But like if SpeCial had proxied in the other direction, it never gets found, and that's wasted mining time, right? So there's actually a risk that PartinG took even with that scout. A small one, but it's there.
Yeah, very polarizing. The stats that you see on your screen right now show that, at least in Legacy of the Void, which is actually very recent in the GSL Season 3 qualifiers this year, SpeCial knocked out PartinG and made him come second in that group to advance. But I think that when it comes to the open qualifiers, obviously you can't really prepare for that, whereas PartinG's had a chance to prepare for SpeCial for about a week now.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And PartinG is a good prep player. I think that SpeCial is as well, though, to be fair. Oh, look at this. I love the little dances that we're seeing, like this red SCV.
No! Don't do it to him! Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's a decision about how much you want to style on your opponent. The answer was realistically probably not going to happen. And so now SpeCial will get a little tiny bit of revenge against that proxy, but still definitely not the way you wanted to start this game out.
Yeah, it's definitely a rough start, but situations like this. Okay, so it's pretty bad when you have to cancel a proxy barracks, right? It does throw a wrench into everything. I want to say that the game is not just over, okay? I know we just finished up Home Story Cup, and everyone on the couch would have said that the game is over when they scout that.
Well, it's because neither one of us are pro players in StarCraft 2 currently.
Yeah. The thing is, it's bad, but SpeCial's a smart player, right?
That's right.
There's a lot of things that can happen in a game, and let's give him the benefit of the doubt here. Let's see how he's going to fight back.
I would say that there would be maybe more of a chance if, say, Warp Prisms had 11-second warp ins, but maybe on the current patch, I don't know.
One day.
One day, we can dream. So trying to get a little bit of harassment done, I think SpeCial obviously knows that he needs to try to get something going his way. A couple of probes is, something, but not realistically going to change the course of that opening.
So PartinG just went for a robo opening here, just making some stalkers as well. Has an observer, but he started the prism then canceled, so I'm not sure exactly what his plan is here. It seems like he's just kind of playing a pretty safe game overall. Which is not what I expect from him.
Well, so my thoughts are, okay, well, what are the ways that you come back from a failed proxy opener? Well, you can try to macro your way out of it, but I think PartinG is the caliber of player that will be able to just carry that advantage forward.
Okay.
And so maybe he's thinking, okay, SpeCial might try something a little bit crazy and reactionary to that, and so maybe trying to just play safe and take that tiny advantage and make it into a bigger one.
Well, I guess if you look at SpeCial's style overall, he does get aggressive pretty often in the early game. He does lots of proxies, he does a lot of early attacks and whatnot. He is trying to come in here with the draw, Oh my god.
This is about as...
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, he
Yeah.
actually gets both Widow Mines out?
Yeah, not so bad.
Okay, we hate those probes. Those are the least favorite children. So they get taken out, so do the Widow Mines, and I mean, all in all, I mean, more successful than I would have expected, but I think he still loses the medevac. Yes.
Yeah. Too bad. Probably not quite worth it right there. I think we can all agree on. But SpeCial is going ahead and making another command center. Just kind of teching up. He's got his Raven out here as well, and PartinG playing. You know, this... Oh, look at that. He really put a lot of emphasis on killing that Observer. But PartinG going into both Colossus Tech and Twilight. I mean, this could be Disruptor Blink as well, because he has made nothing but Stalkers. Let's see, though, if he wants Colossus or Disruptor.
Yeah. Oh, nice one, Reaper. You do get to live another day. So it's going to be out of there. I mean, we see Blink on the way, but that doesn't necessarily tell us exactly what to expect. And I think my question is just going to be for SpeCial, you know, not only how do you get that mentality back in there, we do see it's Colossi, but also, you know, how do you play against kind of the forces of inevitability now that your opponent kind of knows what's coming?
Yeah, you know, I think the SpeCial's doing, like, all right. His third command center is going to finish before the Nexus. Obviously, the Nexus will be mining first, but SpeCial's not, like, that far behind right now or anything. You know, the Forge is just now starting, so we're not going to have some giant upgrade advantage for Protoss, which is oftentimes the case when you get behind. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think, though, that there's any real attack timing here, you know? His stim is about halfway done, and yeah, he does have the Raven out to disable the Colossi, but I feel like in this type of situation, you want to sit back, get your economy really flowing, and macro up larger.
I think that's definitely what PartinG has in mind as well. I mean, for SpeCial, maybe that's a little bit of a luxury, because in theory, maybe PartinG could have pushed the aggressive advantage that he had and maybe gotten something done, but I think kind of better safe here on both sides, and especially the tech that PartinG is getting means that by the time he actually does have to fight, he's going to have a lot of extended thermal lance Colossi and should be pretty well prepared for really anything that SpeCial can throw it at him.
Well, the Observer doing its rounds, figuring out what's what. PartinG just play. This is like so standard from PartinG. It's like really weird for me to even see, because I'm used to his very aggressive play overall.
Yeah. No, I turned on Twitch the other day just to like watch some good streams, and saw Printf streaming, and I'm just like, okay, well, I know what to expect here. I saw like Coconut Games, like another just all the cannon rushing all the time, and then I saw PartinG streaming, and I turn on, and he's instantly cannon rushes the first game I watched. I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm just not really going to see any macro games. But now I'm watching him here, and he's actually just doing exactly that, playing it slow and steady, and I mean, poised to win the race.
Wow, real miscontrol there with the Raven. You're definitely not supposed to lose that Raven like that, and he threw down the auto turret a couple times, which is weird.
I think that's kind of like, you know, the Changeling when the Overseer's about to die, it just poops the thing out right before. But you're right, losing that Raven means there's not going to be any interference matrix. It means that you have to devote your starport production to that instead of anything else. And I think he actually has a reactor on that starport, so obviously that doesn't help your Raven production.
Well, look at this. 2 factories being added by SpeCial right now. This is fascinating. I believe I know what he's going to do, where you go mass siege tanks with your Bioforce. We've only seen it a few times at pro play, and I've never seen it actually win. But I think that's what we're going to see here. I'd be pretty surprised if it was anything else at this point, but to see these factories added right now, definitely a very different strategy coming out of SpeCial.
I mean, for me, and especially for that Warp Prism, I think we're both really surprised right now. Also, that Stalker is pretty surprised too, because in the face of the army that I just saw from PartinG, you know, if I were SpeCial, I'm not really thinking, okay, well, time to get my macro going and build up a large infrastructure, because that push out from PartinG, especially sniping that Raven, I thought that was actually like a pretty good moment for him to have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, PartinG should be feeling pretty confident right now. Everything's going fine for him. I'm actually kind of surprised we don't have a second Forge. I feel like this is a beautiful time to add one down.
You really think that's kind of the distance we're going with this game?
With PartinG?
Yes.
Well, I think right now, because he doesn't know about the factories, that he should just be completing his tech setup, right? Double Forge, and get into Psystorm, right? Get a Prism out there and all that. But once he sees the factories, obviously you have to kind of change up what you're doing.
Yeah, you're definitely going to need a little bit more to prevent being kind of outgrown here. SpeCial, I love, you know, SpeCial, I think TY also used to do this a little bit. where you realize that you're in a position where you need to, like, prepare for something. Maybe you're a little bit behind or whatever. You try to get out there on the map and get something done. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like this is that.
No, certainly not that one, but just keeping him busy while he makes these siege tanks is reasonably powerful. This is going to be an army that PartinG really does not expect. You never really see a massive siege tanks going against Protoss. And now it looks like SpeCial wants to just go ahead and take his 4th base, but PartinG has added his Stargates. So to go into Tempest here is certainly not a bad thing.
So for me, at least when I see it, the Thermal Lance Colossi early, Tempest later on, I don't think at any point PartinG feels like it feels any pressure this game, especially because of the opening. But for SpeCial, I wonder if that's a good thing, right? Is he just going to kind of breathe a sigh of relief that he gets to play the game for a little bit longer?
Well, I think that after he lost that proxy barracks, the fact that he's gotten into this situation where they're both going to max out, and in fact he's even maxing quicker with a strategy that PartinG's not ready for, this is the best case scenario really for him, right? And PartinG, who knows how much practice he has against something like this. Again, I've only seen this 1 or 2 times in the pro scene.
And a very fast Warp Prism, and just barely gets out. Thankfully.
Well, that's the new speed of the Warp Prism. I don't know if you saw the notes on the new patch that's going to be coming,
it's
but
pretty fast.
You're never even going to see a Warp Prism that's not that fast ever again.
That's right. Why would you ever use it? It's like, no, I just like bad Warp Prisms. No. That's right. So get ready, guys. It's coming.
My strategy is to make slow Zerglings. Like, yeah, that's cool. Okay. So, SpeCial's starting to move out, and I think PartinG's starting to figure out what's going on, that there is a funny amount of siege tanks. I guess, I don't know if he's seen exactly how many there are, because I believe there's like 14 right now.
Siege tanks? Oh my god. Well, if we can see the unit counting station, then yeah, that'd be nice, but that's gonna surprise maybe PartinG a little bit. I don't think he was really able to get an observer into the main, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, I don't think so.
I think he might misjudge that.
Yeah, and this army he has doesn't beat all these siege tanks. Well, I mean,
okay, well,
those storms are all right.
Tell me more, Artosis.
Jeez Louise.
Okay, I mean, he does have 2 Tempests, Tempi, I don't know what those are, Tempos, up in the air, but I mean, that's going to chip away, and I don't think that SpeCial's really going to give him the opportunity. Sure, the Colossi in the back are going to be okay, and actually, I mean, there's no Ravens here, so that's a lot of, like, just siege that PartinG has to hold on here.
Dude, that amount of siege tanks is so hard to engage against. Like, he needs a Zealot flank or something here. Looks like he's trying to pick away at it, but I don't feel like this is something you can really pick away at. It's dealing its damage way too quick.
Right, and so PartinG is going to back off, going to stack that base, save most of the workers, and now I guess SpeCial just picks up and goes back home.
Look at that, leaves a couple tanks there, siege, so that slows down the army that's trailing him. So many Marauders in here as well. You better not be an armored unit.
Oh no, I mean, this is exactly why siege tanks, kind of like disruptors, are not retreating units exactly. And so really good there by PartinG, kind of realized, sees that moment of vulnerability. And hey, behind that, the Warp Prism doing what Warp Prisms do best, and that is put Zealots where you don't want them.
Those
will
are,
also save everything. But
yeah, they're doing all right now. Nice harassment there in the main base. PartinG, obviously his army is a lot more mobile, so he's going to come up here and try to get something done. Thor's actually being made now.
Wow, thank goodness for that patch that made them a counter to massive air units. This is really going to be really good for SpeCial to hang on, but I fear that maybe he's being torn in too many different directions and might have lost a little bit too much off of that retreat.
Yeah, possibly. It looks like the Thor gets picked off after the command center. A lot of siege tanks starting to go down as well here. Those Immortals being heroes here.
Yeah, I don't know if Thor's going to be here for very much longer, Artosis. He does get kind of microed back there, and so that will survive. And the Stalkers, of course, not really great to throw into Thors and siege tanks. But, man, both players just really trading massive blows back and forth.
And the Tempest count is really going up quite a bit. So I think we're going to see the continuation of Thors being produced out of these 3 factories. But SpeCial's economy really took a hit here, whereas PartinG, he already had his 5th base up in the top left, and he's retaking that 4th that died.
Yeah, and PartinG saved most of his workers from losing that base, whereas SpeCial lost most of his, and, sure, mules, but I think the bigger thing is that PartinG's tech is still, really, really going to be powerful, especially if he positions these Tempests over this non-destructible terrain in the middle of the map.
lot of siege tanks up here as well. Okay, so the Tempests are starting to become a problem. When you get this many, you can really pick off quite a bit. Look at this beautiful Zealot harassment at the same time, a group of them being sent into the natural.
What's happening to our neighborhoods, Artosis? We can't leave our doors unlocked anymore. The Zealots just walk right in. And really, I think that is the icing on the cake for PartinG. So many times this game, even when he's taking all that damage from Special's push, he's got the contingency plan of Zealots dealing damage behind it.
You know what, this has just been absurdly solid PvT play from PartinG, which is not exactly what I'm used to. Like,
yeah,
he's
not
playing very
synonymous at all.
aggressive PvTs, but he's just showing very solid macro. He's having great unit movements, great harassment on the other side of the map while all of this is going down. And, I mean, his macro, everything, he hasn't been too greedy at any point. His defense has been spot on. Beautiful play.
Yeah, that knowledge of exactly when to counter push right after losing the Nexus, not losing too much, and then realizing that vulnerability. I mean, that almost alone is getting him here into this, huge 5 bases, tons of Tempest, high tech, great upgrades. Is there anything PartinG doesn't have right now?
Well, he doesn't have a bunch of mining bases or buildings that aren't on fire in his main base.
That's true. I mean, sure, he doesn't
Get
have...
that starport!
No, man, killing that one Marauder, way more important. Also that one Ghost, which also dies. I mean, Storms are a great way to keep you from being chased, and so it almost kind of plays into PartinG's hand here. He's going to try to micro those Thors forward and pick off some of these Tempests, but the Storms are everywhere!
Yeah,
oh my God, you can't fight into that! Everything's going down. PartinG takes game number 1.
He had 11 High Templars before that. That was absurd. Okay, so that was a very interesting game. SpeCial using this mass tank ad with a mostly Bioforce. And again, we've seen this, I think, twice in GSL before. And it still hasn't won, but it's an interesting strat. I'm guessing that we saw it from TY previously. That would make sense why SpeCial's doing it. But PartinG, even though he didn't realize that there were lots of tanks, he lost his base, he kind of slowed it down, he chased some back, and then his counterattack did pretty well. That plus the Prism in the main, that's really what pulled him into an advantage there, because before that, I think that SpeCial had fought himself into a good spot.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he saw that build coming in time to react with a Tempest, but regardless, he just barely had those 2 out when that push was coming, and then he was able to get, of course, a ton more off of that counter push. Really solid play from PartinG. I mean, when that's your opener, right, it really doesn't give your opponent the chance to sort of, look for weaknesses after that, because you didn't do anything super fancy. You just really had perfect play every step of the way.
Yeah, it's very much true. Like, it was preemptive Tempest. He didn't know. You have to assume at that point that, like, oh, they're probably going, like, Mass Liberator, right? That's a very common endgame for Terran against Protoss. So he's just adding on his Tempest at a normal time. He's already got Colossus. He's already got a good amount of bases. His upgrades are going steadily, not super quickly. He has his Size Storm. Yeah, why not add some Tempest? And then, I mean, that turned out to help him a lot that game.
For sure. I mean, I thought there was this, like, tipping point where maybe he has, like, 1 less Colossi or Tempest, or where maybe there's the opportunity for SpeCial to maybe get more damage done or hit so quickly that PartinG's army isn't in position. But instead, everything is exactly where it needs to be, and SpeCial really lost a ton off of that counter push. I guess when you go for that strategy, how do you turn around? Because it didn't look like PartinG really gave him too much of an opportunity.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to retreat with an army like that, right?
Yeah.
And he had lost most of his medevacs. He had lost most of his Marines. We had seen all those ridiculous storms as he was coming up. So it did turn into kind of an awkward situation, but probably better than trying to go forward and just losing all your tanks.
Right.
Yeah, I think that the main problem more was the Prism getting into the back of the main base and then losing that command center and all those units up at his original third, right?
Yeah.
That's, like, yeah, you can lose some units running away. I think he's still fine as long as that counterattack doesn't do so much.
Well, PartinG with a Game 1 win. I think this is kind of revenge for PartinG after SpeCial made him work even harder in the offline qualifiers. But I don't know. I didn't expect that much of a totally standard play, obviously, because we characterize our players, and PartinG is kind of defying all of those. A lot of people said, well, you can't come back after a long break as a pro player. I think last season really proved us wrong there.
Yeah.
And even this characterization of him as this sort of like cheesy, overly flamboyant player. I mean, I didn't really see, it sounds bad to say I didn't see a lot of character in that play, but it was just really standard.
Yeah. I mean, if you just show us that game with the nameplate covered up, a lot of people just look at that and be like, oh, you know, maybe that's stats or something, you know, just very solid macro play. But, I mean, well done from PartinG. Let's not forget, though, he did open up the scouting and forcing a cancel on a proxy barrack. So that was a terrible start for SpeCial, and he still made a game out of it.
Well, we're moving on to our new map this season. We've gotten rid of, it's not King's Cove, it's Port Alexander. Yeah, we got rid of Port Alexander, and we put in Acropolis, which, at least from what I was
Wait, no,
checking...
we got rid of Kairos Junction. That's what we got rid of.
Okay, all right. It's
Sorry.
Acropolis. It's game 2. Let's go.
Pixel 1, PartinG. Ocean Gaming, SpeCial.
And is just me, or is like literally half the crowd cheering for SpeCial? I know we have a lot of non-Koreans that come down to watch. Oh, he finally found the right ID. It only took him, what, 12 years?
Well, you know what? You're going to have to find the rest of his signs underneath his chair.
Oh, he's got like 5 more of those?
He definitely has more IDs than that.
That's true. Cute Angel, man. That was mine.
Windy, Go see Terran.
I always thought it was an L, so I used to call him Ghostal Terran.
Oh, God.
But it was, yeah.
Yeah, no, capital I.
Okay.
On Battle.net fonts.
Thank God we've moved on from there.
Totally.
What was TY's old name? It was like Baby, and then for a while he went as like Sizz Beggar, Sizz something or other.
Oh, that was
for
probably
that
just like a clan.
It was
idea.
it was a strange time out there, but we finally settled on some good IDs. Let's make something special. Aww. I feel like you could put that on a Valentine's Day card and get 100% success rate.
Of course.
Just like I had for all of my Valentine's Day cards, Artosis. It's a very happy memory kind of time of year for me.
Okay, yeah, it's your birthday, actually.
That's true, but that's the only reason it's a happy memory time of year. Oh, boy.
You're always grumpy on Valentine's Day. I
Wonder
would say
why,
it's funny, but it's
Artosis.
your birthday, so not really.
That's right.
So look at that. You actually, I hadn't realized that would completely block the SCV from
No, I
the sea.
definitely thought that maybe if that SCV had skipped out on that last DQ blizzard, maybe he could have made it through there.
But they're so good.
They are so good. I literally had one last week. Ugh.
So Nexus into Stargate here from PartinG, whereas SpeCial is taking this expansion, just teching up pretty normally.
Bet you didn't know the SCV was coming. Wow, that is actually
this?
fantastic. How does that happen?
Oh, he feels like he's throwing SpeCial off a little bit, though.
Or maybe SpeCial is just kind of thrown off either by PartinG or sometimes, especially one of the banes of Major back then or SpeCial now, as he got late on into tournaments, is that if he started off with a couple of losses, he'd really get inside of his own head.
Yeah.
And obviously, you don't want to start off with a loss for sure, but you know, little things like that definitely don't help put you in a good frame of mind.
Yeah, I would say so. Like losing that first thing, and now it's like not having the full confirmation scout is a little bit annoying. Phoenix is going to be made here by PartinG as opposed to Oracles.
Oh, this is really interesting because he's not obviously going to go for at least the immediate Oracle harass. He's also not proxying anything. I feel like that was kind of the weird theme of last season is how many weird Protoss builds can we get where they just put stuff out on the map. It felt like they were like, you know, Maru playing Protoss. But this is super standard play. I mean, I don't know if Phoenixes are super standard, but there's at least one.
It's a fine opener, to be honest. And especially when you have a situation like this, like these Adepts are getting so much work done. They've reduced the Marine count actually quite a bit. They're keeping him really, really busy. When you add all that up together, I mean, when the Phoenixes come over, they should be able to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I don't think they've been scouted, of course, because all of that scouting information was totally denied early on, and so, you know, very potent when they hit for the first time. Now let's see if the little hellion that can get across the map and finally get that important scouting information that SpeCial needs. But I don't think it's going to see the Phoenixes in time, the Phoenicians.
No, certainly they will not see that. But You know what? Cloaked Banshee can be kind of a funny counter to Stargate. You wouldn't think so, but oh my God. Ooh, good hit right there.
You hate to see him do it to him. I remember there used to be that meta where you hide the Widow Mine in just a random place for the Oracle. Works pretty well against Phoenixes. One of them obviously very, very low. There's only 3, so not that many left up. And another one!
Wow.
The
really
DJ
good.
Khaled mine in the mineral line.
Why is it a DJ Khaled mine?
Because there's another one. That's like the only other line that he says besides DJ Khaled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the other one. You now completely grok his existence on this planet.
I love it.
Okay, well, about that Stargate counter there, Artosis.
Yeah, not this time.
Nope.
But you know what? The fact that the Phoenix harassment really didn't get that much done, a lot of times, especially when you get those Adepts in there like that, those Phoenixes will actually do some serious work, but a couple good Widow Mine hits, pushes them back, they go back for the Banshee, and everything's kind of stabilized, but PartinG's on 3 bases very quickly. He's adding his tech quite quickly as well, and it doesn't feel like there's some sort of attack timing coming up for SpeCial.
Yeah, and last game, after SpeCial was kind of behind after that failed proxy opener, he actually got his 3rd command center pretty fast. Not quite the same situation here, and it feels like he's continuing to try those tiny little harassment moves like he did in Game 1, and once again, they're really not working out. And this push obviously does not have 15 tanks with it.
No, it does not. But what is the army looking like here for PartinG? Has he done a little bit too much to hold on against this? He's got a Colossus on the way. He's got a few Phoenixes and some Gateway units. But against 2 mines, a tank, and this many Marines, that little podunk army is not going to be able to hold it.
Yeah, there's 3 emergency shield batteries being warped in, but those are desperation batteries because you're right, Artos, he just doesn't have that much on the ground.
Yeah, especially with this bunker going up, that it makes it much more scary as well. So, mind what I said before, this attack timing is working out beautifully, but let's see if the Colossus can change this up. Flies in, picks up those Sea Shanks. Very important moment right there.
Yeah, beautiful lift, but there's no charge on these Zealots. They are very slow, and they evaporate almost immediately. Relifts on those tanks, but the Phoenixes aren't going to be able to lift them for long, and this is it. That's all PartinG has.
Oh, man, I think he actually messed up his micro there a little bit. He could have hit those Marines a few more times with the Colossus, but now the Nexus falls.
And man, that's huge. That's exactly what SpeCial wanted, and I don't think he's going to lose everything off of this retreat like he did last time.
No, he's certainly not. And look at that. He's adding 2 factories behind.
Ooh.
But this is not mech. I mean, this is not bio into the Sea Shanks. This is mech.
A big switch here, and I think it's one that I think SpeCial bought himself plenty of time to do. He's going to have this 3rd base, which is now a 3rd base over his opponent instead of behind like it was previously. And I really like what SpeCial has done as kind of, well, not an adaptation, but just a build choice to go for, whereas his push was very strong, but a little bit later in Game 1, he pushes a little bit faster after knowing that the Phoenixes might have done a little bit of damage, but not enough to stop that push.
I'm going to have to talk to SpeCial about this a little bit afterwards and see if the Phoenixes played any role, because we noticed in previous seasons that when Phoenix openers were occurring, a lot of times Maru was going into mech against that because they kind of can't attack you too quickly. And now when, look at this situation, right? It doesn't feel as if there's any way for PartinG to attack anytime soon. If you're sitting defensively with Siege Shanks, Blink Stalker Colossus is not going to attack you unless it's Patience controlling it.
That's true. If there's one thing he does, then that might be it. Coming in with finally, I think, the first successful Banshee harassment of this game, and it comes at a time where there's just nothing there to defend. I think it's really kind of a testament to PartinG's vigilance that he's been able to stop all of them up until this point. But eventually, SpeCial finds a way.
Yeah, you're going to if you keep sending them.
I think that's what, like the 4th or 5th Banshee in
Yeah,
there?
I think it is actually, but look, 4 kills, gets away, so good on him. Not a really overly important unit right now. Maybe you can send it back later and tax him a bit more, but just look at these stats right now. 70 SCVs to 64 probes, and it's Blink Stalker Colossus against Siege Tanks.
Yes, in general, not the best things against Siege Tanks.
That's not
there.
what you're looking for.
Yeah, and I mean, there's only one Phoenix. Obviously, most of them died earlier. He lost a couple scouting, so all of that tech that he invested for the mid-game hasn't been able to snowball into the future, unlike every unit that Terran has, which, all matters at every stage of the game forever.
Yeah, the scaling of these armies definitely is an important aspect, and like Siege Tanks just scale beautifully. Like the more you get, the more powerful they are, and later into the game, they just continue to add that value. Whereas, you know, you look at this army, it's like, are these Colossi going to be overly useful at any point in this game? I mean, maybe. Maybe they are.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's possible.
I mean, he's going to be getting, you know, the kind of the next wave of units. That's why we see disruptors on the way to transition out of that. But you know, you can't re-roll your Colossi into disruptors. This isn't you know, a StarCraft auto battler where you can sell one of unit to buy more of a different kind.
Sounds like a great idea. Better start a game company and make
It's
one
clearly
of
the
those.
future, Artosis. I don't know why you're so you know, stuck in the past.
Yeah, I truly am.
I'm just so
I played
disappointed.
StarCraft 1 this morning. I'm casting StarCraft 2 right now.
I'm so disappointed that this game requires both players to individually control their units instead of watching the units control themselves on the screen like a real esport.
Well, I mean, hold on. Both players. I mean, from what I've heard, PartinG's army is basically doing this all itself.
Oh, I mean, he is playing Protoss, but you know, it's about as close as you can get.
Gotcha.
He's just ahead of the game.
All right, so the disruptors are kind of an interesting thing. Like, disruptor Blink Stalker is just a very mobile force, and you can kind of slow down anything from attacking you forever with enough disruptors. So I wonder if that's what his idea is, or is he going to try to go right on the edge of these siege lines and send in the disruption shots? I'm not so sure. But it seems like he's trying to get a trade here against SpeCial. I want SpeCial to slow down a little bit.
Right, well, oh, wow, okay, SpeCial maybe got a little bit of a taste for PartinG's kind of volatility. Once again, the harassment on the other side being stopped. Okay, not being stopped. One cannon is not going to do that. But hey, look at, he's using these Blink Stalkers in kind of creative ways. Unfortunately, you know, the creativity there is much
overrated right there.
Like many starving artists, you know, just being creative is not good enough.
No, that was not the best use of his stalkers, but that's all right. Carrier production is now beginning.
Is that the way, Artosis?
Actually, I really like carriers against mechs still. I think that they're actually quite strong against it. So happy to see him going for that. But obviously you need to kind of slow him down. You want to be poking him. You want to make it units like siege tanks and Hellions when you're going into carriers.
Yeah, absolutely. Trading away the Stalkers feels a little bit you know, unnecessary. But I think a lot of that is to kind of keep SpeCial back. He hasn't been able to push out at all.
I think he thought he could get a better trade with them, and everything went wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like...
Well, everything went wrong like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So now finally, SpeCial is able to start moving out on the map. This is where these disruptors are finally going to kick in.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get up that hill.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Maybe the same thing that came over PartinG to trade away his Stalkers is going to come over SpeCial trying to push up that hill. Hopefully not. Zealots forward, so this Purification Novas. Whoa!
Nice hit right there, no doubt.
That is fantastic. So a first of hopefully many for SpeCial or for PartinG as he attempts to stop SpeCial from getting any purchase elsewhere on the map.
And look, SpeCial right now is still just really mass-producing these ground units. So the carriers are going to do a very good job, I think, when they finally pop out.
And now he's got plenty of supply to build those carriers with after losing all of those disruptors. And especially the loss of disruptors means that it's not as painful anymore for these siege tanks to unsiege, move forward, start that leapfrog. These carriers really haven't come online just yet.
Yeah, just a few of them right now. He's actually missing a bit of an opportunity to poke a bit more with those, I think. I mean, there are some Cyclones in here, so you have to be careful on letting them lock on. But with this many disruptors, I feel like he can guard them.
That's right, Purification Nova coming forward. Does get a nice hit on that tank. It goes down. There's still so many in the back, though. We got to use these carriers so well. But Marine DPS is actually almost just enough to take these interceptors out.
Yeah, actually, nice split there. I didn't think those Marines would still be useful, but here they are actually doing a good job gunning down some interceptors.
Yeah, the interceptors just can't come out fast enough to deal with the anti-air threat on the ground.
You know, overall, though, the carriers, they are pushing everything back. They're forcing SpeCial to turn around and run a bit. But he is adding in some more anti-air. He's adding a lot of mines. He's adding a lot of Cyclones in here. And, of course, with Drilling Claws, mines... You know, they're pretty effective in these situations. They can kill all the interceptors. If you get them underneath, obviously they can kill the carriers themselves.
Yeah, if you want to carpet bomb them like Mario would do, then maybe try that one out. But I think for right now, the lack of... Oh my god, carriers getting in range of Widow Mines, Artosis.
It does happen sometimes against mech. That's how I lose carriers occasionally, but, you know.
Oh my god, another one?
Yeah. Well, now you need detection here as well because they have drilling claws.
You see the moral support or observer coming through. It's like, I know, I need this now. Well, you needed it maybe a couple minutes ago. Now only one carrier. He's having to remake carriers, which just absolutely sucks.
Yeah, his economy is not really looking too hot, but he has made SpeCial go home for a little bit. Maybe he can find something in here now?
Well, those Widow Mines are finding things, Artosis. Holy hell, those connections are just... these are going to be what PartinG Nightmare is about later on.
Did not know that nightmare was a verb, but...
Well, a dream in theory is the good one, right?
Yeah.
So the nightmare is the bad one.
Sure.
So if dream can be a verb, then nightmare is one too.
Ah, all right.
Also one of those legacy players that's probably not making it into GSL Codex.
No. Oh,
Whoa.
a very good disruptor shot
I tell
right
you,
there.
he lost most of them, but he saved the one that mattered, Artosis. That was
Yeah.
really getting work done. I wish we could see like a kill count. Trying to harass with Zealots off on the other side, but thankfully this time there's a PF for SpeCial. Not going to take any more of that damage. Another win. Does burrowing claw, tunneling claws give you the not tunneling claws? They're not roaches. Does that give
Drilling
them
claws.
longer range? Burrow, tunnel.
Like adaptive talons, adaptive talons.
That's what they get. Yeah, that makes them able to shoot their spikes faster. I know what that does.
Yeah, okay, so right now, it looks good for SpeCial. Like, PartinG just got a few very good trades right in a row. But I kind of like this situation for his opponent. Like, you know, SpeCial has a little bit more going on. His economy hasn't been touched in a very long time. And I think that the army that PartinG is making, this is a decent army for dealing with attacks that are incoming, but what else does it do?
You mean PartinG as well? I mean, maybe it will deal with this round, but there's so much more behind this. This is sort of like the mobile test the waters portion of SpeCial's mech army, and so maybe this gets pushed back, but I feel like there's so much economy now far behind it, and PartinG is not going to be able to expand in the same way, so it feels like a little bit too little too late.
Well, walking out and these armies are so
6,
funny looking.
10 Widow Mines.
My God.
One for every carrier it's going to
so
kill.
Funny.
They definitely walk faster than carriers, for sure.
The great enemy of mass Widow Mines, the photon cannon.
Yeah, it's going to get them every time.
They can't do anything against that.
No, man, it's like trying to storm photon cannons. That doesn't do anything either.
Oh.
What, I mean, what do you do as PartinG? I feel like you're, tiptoeing through the literal landmines, and he never is able to quite take those out.
Well, his carrier count's growing a little bit right now, so that's good. He's continuing upgrades, but of course we see that SpeCial's a bit ahead as far as that goes. More Colossus on the way, I think, because this is turning into a little bit more battle mech. Colossus are actually pretty good at zoning out the mines as well.
Ooh! These are just coming at the worst possible moments, and it's almost a little bit comical. If you have a cloaked unit, obviously you deal with the detection and it makes it more powerful, but for Protoss, I'm just always used to them having observers where they need to, unlike, every game that I play. So it's a big difference. And then even more hits. Obviously, those not quite as good as previously, but I mean, these are just so valuable for SpeCial.
Well, they just continue to gain value for him throughout the game here. Now look at this. Oh my God, now those Colossus actually being really, really worthwhile. I love the scans trying to take out these observers. Look at that, trying to take down this Nexus.
And
doesn't quite get it.
Yeah, not able to do that. Burrowing on the high ground, of course, Colossi and carriers can be able to take those out. Finally, dealing with the Widow Mine threat, but oh my God! Right as I say that, even more starting to connect. I can't tell the difference between the lines that the Cyclones draw and the lines that the lock-on from the Widow Mines
really?
do.
Yeah.
I never thought that there would be a need to color code those so that we can tell. You know how they changed like Glaive updated, upgraded depths?
Oh yeah, they've done that with so many things.
I gotta figure out what the line is. Like, do I have to pull back?
Well, against either, probably yes.
Yes. Well, I mean, maybe
but
your
one you
reaction's
can
the
blink
same.
out of, right? Very easily.
Yeah.
So, anyways, moving forwards. I mean, this army it's getting better. I love that he's adding the carriers slowly but surely. It didn't feel like it was gonna work out a couple times when he was down to like 1-2 carriers, but his army is getting scarier and scarier right now, and it doesn't feel like just Widowmine Cyclone is necessarily the answer.
Yeah, especially these Cyclones. I mean, you talked about how maybe it's an army that PartinG can defend against, but I feel like it's not really doing anything else either. I mean, I guess theoretically it's there to get those lock-ons and, play the kite away game, but it's also here to, like, one-shot next side, so it's definitely going to do that.
Yeah, that's a very quick, clean kill right there. Let's see how much he loses running away, though.
Well, especially with the carriers.
Not that bad, actually. Not that bad.
He's got to watch out for the Widow Mines. Just the threat. Oh, here they go. Oh, my God! Oh, they're going everywhere. Unfortunately, not really target fired on those carriers, but they do get some nice connections.
There are these mines are getting so many hits.
There's more out there, PartinG.
My God. It's time to just go 3 Robo Observer, I think. This is just, it's madness how many kills Widow Mines have actually gotten in this game.
Even more lock-ons and probably some Widow Mines here too. I'm just waiting for the detonations at this point, Artosis. Look at how many there are!
Oh, I know. He's having such a hard time clearing them. He does have the disruptors, so it's doable.
But he doesn't even know those are... Oh, I guess he knows they're detonated, but now finally clears them out. Okay.
I was going to say, maybe he's having the same problem you're having here.
Well, because all you have to do is mistake one of them for detonated when it's not, and you lose everything.
A little bit indecisive there with that disruptor hit, but starting to get quite a few good ones.
Oh, man, another huge hit right on the meaty center.
Oh, yeah. This carrier's starting to fall right now.
I don't think Cyclones are really the answer here, but combined with these Widow Mines, they're certainly getting the job done.
Yeah, it's like the Cyclones are the thing that if you mess up at all, if you aren't actively microing against them, they will get you.
We've lost 51 Cyclones to 70 Stalkers on the other side.
51 Cyclones? There's 51 Widow Mines gone, too.
Oh, my God.
That's crazy.
Maybe they're just reactored out of factories that have parity. I don't know.
Maybe that is it.
Perhaps that is the reason, Artosis.
I'm always wondering about things like that.
No,
but look, the Widow Mines are really what is working for SpeCial. I'm really surprised that he continues to stay on this comp, but I guess it's hard to micro against and everything. I feel like SpeCial is PartinG just like moving too quickly.
I think he's getting a little bit ahead of himself.
Every time he's burrowing stuff, it's like, okay, now just wait for a disruptor shot. Okay, now go again. And
well, it's a little bit like a rhythm game. You have all these beats that you have to hit. It's like, okay, here are the timers for the Widow Mines. Here's the timers for the my disruptors. When will I have those when I need them? And also the lock-ons, the cooldown for that. You really have so much to keep an eye on here. And finally, it looks like PartinG has just really been pushed back. Sure, he managed to get an extra base, but it feels like that's just been used to fuel units that die to Widow Mines.
As everything is, really. It's crazy. But okay, so right now, SpeCial pulling back a little bit more. He is continuing to expand her in this, even though he lost one base back there. See this? He is scanning quite a bit, trying to pick off the observers. This is so interesting to see him really, like, sometimes you'll get into a situation where you're like, oh, I got to do something quick that's like a little bit iffy to try to deal with this type of composition, then you see something like this. But the fact that he is continually staying on these units and kind of making it work,
well, when it
doesn't feel like it's supposed to.
Right, eventually you want to transition, right? But he's not, he's just making more of it.
Like, there has to be something else that you want to do here. Maybe there's not, though. Maybe he's decided that this is actually the best way to deal with all this.
Ooh.
Like, Widow Mines are not that expensive, but, he's losing like 10 in a battle. I'm like, well, I mean, that's something, isn't it?
Maybe I'm seeing things, but I'm almost sure that the Widow Mines, so they track onto units and they can hit like interceptors, right?
Yes.
And so sometimes the interceptors obviously have to return.
Yeah, they pull back over.
Yeah, so I several times I've seen the Widow Mines lock onto an interceptor that's returning to the carriers and get the damage done that way, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Never really thought about that before. Oh no!
That is happening quite a bit. Oh my
Every
God.
explosion in this game is something that is just absolutely terrifying, really on both sides. Finally some momentum getting behind PartinG as he takes that base out and isn't able to take one out on the other side.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it doesn't feel like he's going to be able to do this with this many good disruptor hits. Oh, he actually kills that one before it wrecks his army, so good on him for that, but a lot of interceptors left over here.
This is really exciting because it feels like finally PartinG might have found a way to just barely reach that critical mass, and that's going to do it. GG. PartinG somehow, it's the 51st Widow Mine that doesn't kill him after all of the ones before did. He survives at the end and takes SpeCial out in the second game.
I don't know about just staying on that forever.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty cool and it worked. It worked several times, but Yeah, it seems like that's tough to pull off completely in the late game once your opponent kind of calms down and deals with it in a more methodical manner. So SpeCial will fall to the loser's match. I don't think that necessarily means that he's out. Alive and Rogue are both beatable opponents for him. Up next, we'll see who goes to that winner match and who plays SpeCial.